back again for Aquarius. Welcome back, guys. Those of you who stuck around, those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. And my returning subscribers who are very so loyal, thank you. I appreciate it. Now, the next few days I will start on April readings. And I'm going to do, again, I'm going to do straight off the bat, I'll do them live. And I'm going to be doing them for twin flames and the general, okay? So I'll start getting onto those. I need to get on top of them as soon as possible so that I can start moving forward and doing some pre-recordings so you guys can actually get them, but I want to get on top of it ASAP. How are we all? How many people do we have in the house? Now, Aquarius, you guys are going through some interesting things. Where's the astrology chart? What is it? That's not it. I've also put a new session up for the Facebook Live. I've got 2 other clients I want to touch base with and give them a mini update. But I do have tickets on the website for those of you who can't afford a full-blown reading. It's a very minimal price. It's for the 8th of April. So if you want to be connected for the next session, it is up on the website now under events. Yes, I will be doing streaming as I did. So if you notice, there was actually several videos with Giggle and I have closed them at the moment. But I was testing the app out that I'm using, which is XSplit, and I can actually get it to the point where I will be hosting other people on the channel and interviewing them. Let's see why this isn't open. Participants. And it's another way I can actually stream from Facebook. Hello. Hi, Michelle. The print's really small. Let's see what's coming through for you guys. Now, you guys going through a big transformation, you know, and at times it can be where you're thinking, especially when you're quite, how do I say it, evolved. You're looking at things and they're very 3D. It's like, look, this is black and this is white. Sometimes there's shades of grey in between. Hello, Robin. Welcome. Hi, Desert Rose. How are you? Now, a lot of what's going on at the moment is there is changes for you coming, but there's also changes for your twin flame. There's changes for everyone collectively, and that a lot of fair-based frequency will come up due to the astrology. Okay, you went through that. That's fine. As well as moving into the future, all of us have changed, and we're sort of worried that changes aren't happening because we can't see it. A lot of times the unknown, the reality is we have unknown every day, but you've got to be joking. We've got unknown every day, but we don't directly realize it. So when it does trigger us, we're like, oh my God, we're going back to that experience again. There is a lot of changes for Aquarians. It can be anything to your employment. It can be your home directly correlating with it. Your finances, every aspect of your life is physically changing. Connected to your twin flame journey, what is working is addressing the past. So if there was toxicity in your connection, in a previous connection, in a pain body experience, or directly correlating with your twin, if you can deal with the root cause of the pain body experience, it's going to help resolve the blockage for you to spiritually move you forward. If you're wondering, you know, if there was cheating directly in the connection or previously and it's affected your vibration, by addressing it, especially with the astrology at the moment, it's making us look at the past. Some of us are thinking, hey, maybe it was better the devil we knew than the devil we didn't. But it's the pain body experience we need to address, not the direct people, not even twin. It's what did that trigger in you? Did it take you to a place where you felt spiritually you didn't feel safe to move forward? What can you do to dissolve that so that you can look at this as a restart button? Because the 0 degree point with the moon being in Libra on the 20th is a point where we're going to need to be optimistic about the future, regardless of knowing how that's going to look and how it will come about. Sometimes with our fear-based frequencies and previous experience with other individuals in our life, it's showing us that things can't move forward, and also with twin. But again, by addressing that, it unblocks it and it spiritually helps you move forward. What's hindering that domain at the moment is the stress. And again, I'll say it, it's the astrology, but also the blockages make that astrology in the chakra points more heavy. A lot of base chakra has been coming up, and that's because our stability, our grounding, our anchoring. And so it can be that you need to go outside, you need to walk on the ground, do some breathing exercises. I know for me, if I'm feeling imbalanced, I want to energetically push my frequency towards something in a positive way, even if I'm in a negative mindset. And that can mean exercise, lots of fluid to actually help detoxify yourself, communicating in an effective manner, or perhaps doing some meditation where you can feel how you're feeling, even at the lower vibration when you're feeling pretty, being kind to yourself and listening to what that is. How they directly feel about you. There, again, can be some declaring coming through. There can be some communication with your twin. Or you could directly be wishing for that communication to come in. What is working is communication, providing it's at the higher frequency. Look, even at the negative frequency where we say something and we've reached that boiling point, it was going to come about at some point. So, sometimes we tend to go back to the codependent pattern. If we don't stay the same, movement in our love life is not moving forward. None of us ever stay the same. Oh, okay. It's for either person. It's for that zodiac sign of Aquarius for twin flames. So your energy will come through in this read as a counterpart as well as their direct frequency. So it can bounce back and forward. Abundantly speaking and emotionally, what they feel for you is they do want to communicate with you, even if you're not in communication. Communicating with each other, sometimes you might trigger each other, but it helps dissolve, and it helps trigger that pain body experience to actually do the work in that area. Okay, what's blocking that communication is the fact that, either on your side of the fence or their side of the fence, they're dealing with burdens at the moment. And all of us energetically are feeling pretty burdened. It can be where we're not having the light at the end of that tunnel. We're knowing that vibration of what we're wanting at the end of that tunnel, but we're not quite knowing how to get there. There's missing links in the puzzle. There's also missing information. There's a clean-up effect of a karmic cycle. We are moving into a new cycle. We deem it as a karmic cycle, but karma can be good and bad. It doesn't have to be negative. It's trying to do things in a different way that's more energetically in alignment with what is correct, what you've learned, and basing it on the new situation. The blockages, however, if they're not dealt with, they're going to place more blocks in the road and prevent this communication from coming in. So if you're being advised to deal with your pain body experience connected to any cheating third-party experience, and that can even be from your childhood, it doesn't have to correlate with your twin. That, at the moment, can energetically be blocking you. It can even be the thought that your twin's going to meet someone else. Detaching from that, digging back to the root, working out why that's coming up, and releasing any of those frequencies that are residue. In the family domain, if you or them have a karmic frequency connected to baby's mother, baby's father, it could be kin, your side, their side. I'm seeing childhood wounds, and again, it's probably because I connected the dots to base chakra with you guys. It can be sorrow and regret, fear-based frequencies of abandonment from childhood, not getting what you needed from childhood, and old things coming up. Again, in astrology, we're looking all the way back to 2010, all the way back to March last year, but many of us even further through the whole history of our life and our relationships. So it can be a time when we're really going into pain body experiences when we're dealing with karmics, when we're dealing with children. It can be your children and their children. And we're sad about how we would have wanted the family dynamic to be, but we also know that energetically we don't belong there, but we have accountability and responsibility, which is the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. Looking at that and trying to realign ourselves correctly for the movement forward. Okay, they may really be struggling. For those of you who have a karmic, on either side, they're really struggling with the understanding that this is what needs to happen. So it can be where they're being quite toxic, directly connected to the children. It can also be where that is something that's being cleaned up and a delay in the situation. Other people's influences. Now, even if there's discord, I feel this is directly correlating even more so with the karmic energies. It's sometimes we tend to look at it as a negative, and this has been coming through very loudly. The negative is the positive because it's the catalyst to change. We all have, and we keep hearing this in the twin flame journey. We have, what's the term? We have choices we make, right? And it's not, yes, it's part of your twin flame path, but we have our own energetic choice to make. At times, we're looking at it from a pain body experience and saying, they're not going to choose me. They're not going to choose this path. They're not going to do what's right. Well, no. At a point, they need to choose themselves. When they choose themselves and understand that we can't look for other people, that moves. When they can't, the catalyst comes in to resolve and dissolve that, to move that situation forward. So I always deem it as like a pressure cooker. Okay, I had a first warning from universe. I really should change something because this isn't really working. Then another one coming. It was a near miss, and you still didn't do something, and then universe forces your hand. You get 3 chances. This is what's going on. So other people, how they're influencing them at the moment is causing discord. So any discord they have in their life is the catalyst to change, because we can't live in that toxicity. It can't be a permanent thing that stays that way. It's actually giving them the clarity. So by that occurring, it's helping them understand where people are manipulating them. So in the past, what did work was the manipulation. Now what's not working is the manipulation. They're seeing it as a lower frequency, and it's getting to the point it's suffocating. The unseen of what you guys aren't seeing coming is, yes, there can be troubles and delays. But the troubles and delays are the catalyst to the change. So look at them as a blessing, not as a blockage. They're actually not a blockage. They're the solution. So trust in the process. Overall, they're trying to be patient and understand, and this can be on your side or their side. Patience is a virtue. The one word I really dislike, and I won't say hate because, hate's a strong word, is the word patience, because through the twin flame path, you have to be patient. It's arduous. You have to be patient. That does help you understand is that sometimes it's not necessarily patience. It's, I see the bigger picture. After a while, the patience is what can block you, because it doesn't always have to be about patience. It can be, okay, you're energetically feeling you're needing to be patient. And then we get this correlation with patience, and we're like, oh God, does that mean I'm not enlightened? Does that mean I'm codependent? Does it mean I'm not going to get my happy ever after? Tunnel vision. After a while, patience is never enough, because we need transformations to have forward movement. So your belief system at times can be, Aquarius, that you're being patient, therefore you're going to get what you're wanting. Yes, but sometimes, these things that come out of left field are the solution, including what can you do on your side of the fence. Sometimes we can communicate our truth, but we know or feel, due to past tense situations, if I say that, will it cause them to retreat? Well, if it does, they were going to retreat anyway. Will it cause them to judge me? Yeah, perhaps, but then if you explain from your point of view, give it 2 weeks, they'll have this download this mincing effect where they're on the little Ferris wheel going around in circles, psychoanalyzing it, which they do. At some point you will not be able to knot on your throat chakra. So if you do not feel something is, you know, in alignment, yes, you have compassion, the download, the understanding, the foresight, there's certain things that need to happen. But if you are directly dealing with your twin and you can't communicate, it is already preventing forward movement. So you need to change to deal with that, to assist with that transformation. That doesn't mean being aggressive. It means standing in your truth and saying, hey, I understand X, Y, and Z. But from where I'm standing, this is my understanding of my X, Y, and Z. Now, this is what I need. You don't have to give it to me, but this is what I need. I value myself. I love myself. If you can't, I understand, but this is my position. And then you're communicating effectively. You have absolutely no control over how that person is going to communicate towards you. And if it is in a negative way, all you can do is step back and allow them to absorb the information. But sometimes we stop doing that. So we're like, we'll be patient. You know, Christmas could come. Christmas will be here. If there is conflict and you're communicating and you're kind of working things out, but you're like, yeah, but they've said that, you know, one day or X, you know when, but you've got to use your third eye to know how this will correlate with you. Don't jump in the deep end and cause a blue unnecessarily. Again, any tarot reading is temporary energy. At the moment, you're a bit tired of being patient. But it can be where you need to communicate. If you need to communicate, you need to communicate. Have the courage to move forward. Don't feel that because you're moving forward and you have some needs that you're going to be left behind. If they're leaving you behind, it's because they're stuck, not you. You're very cautious about your finances as well, but you're also super cautious about how you're investing in connections. Some of you, I feel there's even a potential of another person. And you're sort of like, do I, don't I? Well, I'm really liking this person, but, you know, do I wait? Is it just around the corner? And you're going back in your mind, I've got to be patient. And then it brings you back to that place again. It's like you're going in circles, okay? You're making a sacrifice because you know the bigger picture. Again, it can be that feeling of vibration and you know something's coming and you've got to trust your intuition. You've got similar cards and I mixed them really well. Yes, there is unity coming. You also, it can be where you're having house movement. How's your twin feeling? Your twin at the moment is feeling quite overwhelmed by situations that are going on. It can be that they're dealing with inheritance and birthrights and contracts, especially with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn. They're waiting for some finances to come, and I feel they're waiting for their harvest, but they're reaping what they sowed. So again, if it was at a lower frequency, they've got the cleanup effect and they know that's a karmic end. And they're like, wow, like I invested incorrectly. They also know that you're super independent and the way to move forward is to move towards you in the similar frequency. So they're taking accountability about it. They're aware of it intuitively. Between you, you've got to be careful what you wish for, okay? And I've mentioned this before. If you're really wanting your twin and they're cleaning up a karmic ending, for your sake, allow that to happen. I know the patience is arduous, but to get into it, if you're saying to universe, I'm ready for this, I want it now, and you know there's a karmic cleanup, you're then part of that equation, which can be messy. So really gauge into what you're asking universe for, because you're going to manifest it, because it may cause a great deal of upheaval. It can be there's a lot of manipulation directly associated with that. So you're going to be sensing your twin's vibration during that transformation. And again, it will still cause more waiting because it's not that complete fresh start. It's a partial fresh start with you walking the process to attain that fresh start. And yes, we all have that in life, but it can be heavy. Okay, there can be on your side of the fence or theirs, I'm seeing some legalities, contracts, can be a divorce. You need to recruit. Think this through. You know, a lot of you are going through an upgrade. You need to meditate upon what you feel is correct for you. Don't jump in the deep end unnecessarily. Use this time as assessment. Don't get paranoid. Don't freak out. Things are changing. They are physically moving forward, but you've got to keep on right now what's right for you. Any questions? Any questions, Aquarians? Or cross watchers of the Aquarius twin flame? Sage cards. No questions. Do we have anyone new in the house? You can't think. I'm with you on that. When twin comes in and has conversation, can that trigger certain situations around? Yes, it can. Look, if they've got karmic related dynamics that they're directly dealing with, and you've got things that you're dealing with, yes, it can. But we're changing everything at the moment. It depends on how far in the process it's going, Kathleen. Like at the moment, Mercury retrograde's horrendous for contracts. It can be connected to karmic endings. So if you're going through a legal issue, it's part of it. Part of the aspects of the astrology at the moment. It's balancing things. It's reading the fine print. It's the delay in situations. Yeah. It's taking, and the reality is in January, we had the eclipse, right? That eclipse of, and again, it's an ending of a cycle. We had the manifestation moon at the beginning of January, which was super blood moon, like super moon energy, which is like full moons, very heavy. We then had another, and that was directly a purging one, you know, a letting go and ending of a cycle. Unfortunately, being a total eclipse, it denotes a transformation time of ending out and starting in new chapters, a completion time of 6 months. That's not to say you won't reach that point beforehand, but we're literally looking at the work we're going to need to do and how deeply committed we are into it. Pick your poison. Are you stepping in, or do you still have part of your foot out because you're like, oh, that looks like work? And I mean, I totally understand. Totally understand. Fair-based frequencies at the moment and the mess, dealing with karmic frequencies, dealing with the toxic endings, and it's like, because it's not a you problem. So it's somehow you need to find the way to energetically step back and go, okay, how can I be detached but be connected in a correct manner? Welcome. It was nice to meet you too. Yeah, so it is really difficult. The next day is 6 months. Yeah, so, but more than likely they will come full circle. Some situations and solutions may come outside of court because there's the 6 month frequency. Yeah. So it's not to say that through that ending out of cycles from that total eclipse that there's already not solutions and movement. I'm not saying that. It's the process to there to get to that firm foundation. That's why we have a lot of the lower chakras going on at the moment. So you might be getting lower backaches, bladder, bowel, you know, that's the base chakra. Then you've got the solar plexus and the sacral chakra, which is your manifestation, your motivation. They can be overactive or underactive. We're in the denser energy. So to move through that, the meditation, the breathing exercises, the picturing of water coming through your third eye at the back of your head, as Luciana said, you know, breathing the energy up and out, drinking water, exercising, eating the food groups of those, and clearing your third eye is going to keep you in the 5D to see the bigger picture. But when we're in the dense energy, all the lower chakras are going to be really heavy. Okay. Bringing up the twin flame journey to your twin flame, you think that's a good idea? You don't need to. I mean, my twin asked me, so I told him. I would always correlate it with a spiritual connection. So in the very beginning, when I met my twin, I didn't know we were twins, and I would always say, I feel like you're my soulmate. I mean, do we need to put it in a box? And it's like, then that's the codependent pattern. Acknowledge the fact that we're twin flames, and that means we're safe. Marry me, and that means I'm safe. Have a child with me, that means I'm safe. They're all the paradigms, right? They're all the codependent patterns. There's no need to let him energetically feel it, because if we have to make someone feel something, you could ask a general question and say, do you see repeating numbers? Do you feel me before I turn up ever? But like just general questions. I mean, if you're really interested. But their energy and the way they sense things will be very different to the way you sense things. I mean, my twin knows I'm psychic. He also, we have spoken about it, and ironically, one time when we were together last time, he knew I was psychic. He put a psychic show on, and we had already talked about the twin flame journey, and I said, can we get this right? Because listen, Linda, I don't want to come back again and do this again. This is BS. I don't want to come back. And if I do, I want a better road. And he laughed. And then the next day we were watching the TV in bed, and he put a psychic show on, and sure enough, the psychic medium was talking about twin flames. I just burst into laughter. That's divinely guided, you know. Yeah, I mean, you've got that intuitive knowing. Most welcome, Kathleen. I will go back and ask, I'll read the questions after because there's so many, but those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. Again, if you are wanting a booking, the link will be directly below. Join us, click the bell, like and subscribe, because I do live sessions regularly and I will answer your questions. Love and light.